Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
I'll be coming for y'all again.
Are you ready for the hardest sports show on the market? It's called The Timeout. Sundays on the ZNet Television Network. In our first show, 4 decades of sports in the country.
I have been coming to this island since I was 12 years old. It didn't take me long to realize the rich history it has here. When I bought this island in 2018, I fulfilled a lifelong dream. The goal is not only to preserve the memories I made over those years, but to make new ones and to give others the opportunity to do the same. As we go through this process, it has become clear to me. We aren't just rebuilding an island, we're reviving a legend.
We've heard you. We know you're tired of the reruns. We're coming back, bigger and better, on The Legal Brief. I'm your host, Ramona Farquharson. Stay tuned.
Hey, what's up, Mario?
Hey, Dale, what's going on?
Have you seen ZNS new digital platforms?
No. Let me go check it out.
Good day, Bahamas. I'm Devontae Hanna, and this is ZNS Digital,
where we cater to your news and entertainment needs. Are you a foodie? I thought so. Then look out for Digital Bites.
Shining a light on Bahamians and the good that they do, ZNS Digital is home to the sunshine.
Keeping up with the latest trends, our original content will keep you entertained.
Yeah, that's cool.
But have you seen the new website?
No, I didn't see it. Let me go look.
We're still your most trusted source for news and information.
That's ZNS Digital?
Yeah, that's ZNS Digital, the people station in your pocket.
It's time to grow your church. Time to extend your message to all the islands in the Bahamas, into the Turks and Caicos Islands, and to the world via the ZNS app and website. It's time to broadcast your church's services on ZNS TV. To help you with that, ZNS has some exciting new packages with very good prices. It's time to call 502-3813 for details.
I have been coming to this island since I was 12 years old. It didn't take me long to realize the rich history it has here. When I bought this island in 2018, I fulfilled a lifelong dream. The goal is not only to preserve the memories I made over those years, but to make new ones and to give others the opportunity to do the same. As we go through this process, it has become clear to me. We aren't just rebuilding an island, we're reviving a legend.
How do we get this island of Grand Bahama to continue to bounce back?
We now have to personally own our economy. So again, we have the government along with the Small Business Development Center is pushing entrepreneurship, funding.
Excellent.
You know, putting heads in beds is so important for our entertainment industry, and we believe that Grand Bahama has that presence.
How do you get something you've never had? You're going to have to be prepared to do something that you've never done.
I'll be coming for y'all again.
Are you ready for the hardest sports show on the market? It's called The Timeout. Sundays on the ZNet Television Network. In our first show, 4 decades of sports in the country.
Beginning Monday, September 16th, it's the new lineup of ZNS News and Current Affairs, 6 p.m. It's What's Trending, Lifestyles in the Afternoon with Stacey Campbell-Marshall, 6:30. We head to the north for the Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition, 7 p.m. It's the Bahamas Tonight National Report, followed by the Bahamas Tonight Access, now at 7:30. Then at 8 p.m., your nightly news analysis show, The Rundown, with Clint Watson, and 11 p.m., the Bahamas Tonight at 11, with Royston Jones. It's a full lineup of the new ZNS. And it starts Monday, September 16th. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
At Lyford Key, I'm Tanya Smith Cartwright. This is ZNS.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Watching Hurricane Milton. I'm Ramiko Knowles. Thanks so much for tuning in. Florida is currently in a state of emergency, bracing for the impact of Hurricane Milton, which is expected to barrel down on our neighbors to the north as a major catastrophic storm. As we keep a close eye on this powerful system, the northern Bahamas has been placed under a tropical storm warning. This means that conditions are favorable for the development of tropical storm force winds within the area, prompting residents to prepare for potentially hazardous weather conditions. In this special broadcast tonight, we're here to guide you through what you can expect over the next 36 hours. While we urge you not to panic, and that is the goal here, not to panic, our goal is to ensure you are fully prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. Now, last evening, the Prime Minister, Philip Davis, urged residents of the northern Bahamas and the surrounding Keys to take precautions ahead of the approaching Hurricane Milton. Though the storm is not expected to pose as significant as a threat as a direct hit from hurricane, the Prime Minister stressed the need for vigilance and preparedness. Here's that report.
The Net Office advises that as Hurricane Milton passes over Florida, tropical storm winds will be experienced on Abaco, Bimini, and Grand Bahama, and as I said earlier, the surrounding Keys.
Tropical storm conditions, including heavy rainfall and possible flooding, are expected in the northern Bahamas between Wednesday, October 9th and Thursday, October 10th. While Hurricane Milton is not predicted to make landfall in the North Bahamas, Prime Minister Davis urging residents to stay informed and pay close attention to updates.
The broadcast alert system has already been activated on all mobile phones in the country. Please pay attention to the alerts and follow the advice given. ZNS and other news outlets will broadcast further alerts and updates as they are issued.
The northern Bahamas is no stranger to severe weather, and the Prime Minister stresses that there is no need to panic, as the projected path of Milton suggests the islands will avoid a direct hit. Despite this, Prime Minister Davis encouraged residents to focus on staying safe, even in less severe conditions.
If your home is at risk of flooding, go and stay with a friend or relative whose home may not face such risk. Stock up on water, food, batteries, and so on, as you would when facing a direct threat of a hurricane. Clear anything from your property which may be blown around in the wind. Protect your doors and windows. Raise your furniture or other household valuables off the floor in case of the flooding. And of course, and more importantly, protect yourselves.
The Prime Minister added that Bahamians have weathered such storms before and emerged resilient. He urges everyone to remain vigilant, prepared, and ready to act if necessary.
Our government stands prepared to take every necessary measure to protect lives, property, and communities. I want to thank you, and may God continue to bless and protect the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Joining us live now for the latest is Senior Met Officer Trinard Tynes. Trinard, thanks so much for being with us. Can you give us the latest on Hurricane Milton?
Basically right now, thank you for having me here. What we're looking at with Milton at this present time, Milton is still offshore, just slightly offshore of the western coast of Florida. It should be making landfall between Sarasota, Florida and Tampa Bay. We're anticipating that to be moving onshore sometime in a few hours or so. What that spells for us here in the Northwest Bahamas, it means that we are experiencing some increase in the winds and speeds at this present time. On the outside of the studio, the trees are starting to sway a little bit. Persons in Bimini should be feeling winds roughly about 20 to 25 knots at this present time. And then later on,
tonight, Grand Bahama, West Grand Bahama will start to feel the same type of wind speeds that Bimini will be experiencing. On top of that, we are going to feel the strongest part of this system will be tomorrow, where we are anticipating to be its closest to the Grand Bahama area, some 160 odd miles to the north, and we're hopeful. Models are showing, the latest models were showing that the storm will become a strong tropical storm just north of the area sometime tomorrow. So it's showing some good signs at this present time.
And so tonight, I know you mentioned some of the wind knots for the persons who are living in those low-lying areas. Should there be any concern at this particular time?
At present, right now, no, not at this time. But we are anticipating that the winds are going to increase significantly tomorrow. So if you do know that you experience some flooding in lower lying areas, basically we are telling persons, if you know your area, just monitor what's going on, and if you do see any that is not threatening, because once again, we're not anticipating a major category storm moving through. Nonetheless, we are expecting on the south side tomorrow, the seas are going to move up to the high water mark for sure. And then as the day progresses, it may, in certain areas that are prone to flooding, like roads areas that are going to be partially covered in certain areas. But we're asking the residents, it's mostly going to be during the day. So the good thing about it is during sunlight.
Right.
So you'll be able to see what's going on. Don't panic. The worst is going to be around lunchtime or so. So just take your time, follow the procedures and procedures by the ministry, and everything will be all right.
Now, I know it's been a busy few days for you. There have been several meetings, and you've been meeting with officials as well. But what preparations should residents be making? Should there be any preparations at this time? I know you said that we won't feel any direct hit, but should there be any preparations, any more preparations at this time?
No, absolutely. We are a nation that are familiar with storms. Basically, what I like to tell people is just a rehearsal.
Right.
So just do what you know and just be safe, and just, again, follow the news media from the meteorology and follow whatever the government agencies put ahead, and you'll be fine.
Now, I looked at some satellite imagery of this storm earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
This is huge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is, humongous. What kind of impact versus the last storms that we've had in the past would we be experiencing in Grand Bahama, in Bimini, and Abaco from this storm?
Basically, we are anticipating tropical storm winds, for sure. And like I said, for us, Bimini is going to feel the effects of it first, and then West Grand Bahama, then Central, then East, then the Abacos. This storm is actually picking up speed. Earlier today was roughly about 12 miles an hour. Now it's up to 17, between 17 and 18 miles an hour, so which is very good for us.
Okay.
You asked the question of storms of the past. I know a lot of persons were concerned about Dorian.
Right.
And rightfully so. Dorian was a very devastating storm. The thing about it is, Dorian came from a different direction.
Right.
Dorian became stationary for several days, and Dorian was a Category 5 storm.
Right.
And plus, it was over Grand Bahama and the Abacos. This system, we're anticipating that it's going to be, like I said, some 160, 170 miles to the north of us at its closest point. For residents in Walker's Key and North Abaco, it may be a little closer, 120 miles or 100 miles away. It puts us directly inside the tropical storm field, but it's outside of any devastating hurricane force winds.
So for residents of Grand Bahama, Bimini, Abaco, those in the Northern Islands, how long will we be feeling the impacts, and when will it be safe to say we're in the clear?
Well, we are hopeful, and the forecast models are showing that we should be feeling less of the effect come Friday morning, going into Friday around lunchtime or so. That's what the latest models runs are showing at this present time. Things can change. When we say change, we're looking at the strength, because right now, the earlier model runs were showing that it was going to be a hurricane, a strength, Category 1 hurricane, up until Friday morning before it started to downgrade to and that would put it to the northeast of Abaco.
Right.
The last run at 5 o'clock, it showed that it was going to be a tropical storm just to the north of Walker's Key. So that's very promising. It shows that the movement over Florida really had a major effect on the system.
Would you say that it's been a pretty predictable storm thus far? A lot of persons were concerned that because we're not in the cone, but we're close, and anything can happen. We talk about these storms, they do I mean, unbelievable things when they get near our waters.
Absolutely.
And so there's been some concerns that this may shift a little bit and things may happen. Should that be a concern at this time?
Well, that is always a concern. Even though we're not inside the cone, we still have to be vigilant. However, since the start of the storm, the department and other meteorological agencies, we were on top of it. The models were very, very good at this, predicting the path of the system. It did wobble, and the reason for the wobble is because it's a major storm. Right. When you have strong storm, major category 3, 4, and 5, especially storms, the storms will wobble. But it stayed true to its path. It went directly to the area that we anticipated that it was going to go from about a week or so since we've been tracking it, and it's been following the path. The only difference is that the system is expected to become a tropical storm earlier than we predicted earlier, so which is a good sign.
Okay, and just before you go, I just want you to reiterate for our viewing audience, tonight we'll feel some initial impacts, but tomorrow we'll feel most of it, and give those times for those in Grand Bahama, Bimini, and Abaco, and mainly the Northern Bahamas. Okay,
Bimini should be up to about 25 knots at this present time. West Grand Bahama, we'll start to feel it later on tonight. Then the rest of Grand Bahama should feel the increase just before sunrise tomorrow. Then throughout the day, Grand Bahama will feel the stronger parts of it, like around, let's say, about lunchtime, I said earlier. Right. And then Eastern Grand Bahama should be feeling the effects around that same time as well. And then Abaco should start feeling some of the effects sometime on late Thursday going into Friday.
Okay, there you have it. Chief Meteorologist Renard Tines joining us live, giving us an update on Hurricane Milton. Now, with the tropical storm, I know you have a lot to get to, and I'm sure we'll get back with you later on, probably tomorrow as well, as the storm continues to make its way. Now, with the tropical storm warning in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas, residents on Grand Bahama are not taking any chances and stocking up on the bare essentials. Our ZNS News team took to the streets to see how shopping has been going. Here's Shane Stubbs with that report.
Residents aren't taking the tropical storm warning placed on the northwest of Bahamas lightly as Hurricane Milton prepares to make landfall over in Florida. Here in the downtown area, residents are doing their last-minute shopping for food items, taking every precaution for what's to come.
While the threat is not as significant as that of a hurricane threat posed to our neighbors in Florida, we still need to take it seriously.
With official warning going forth, some residents sprung into action, gearing up with the bare necessities.
We're here getting some water and some canned goods and some unperishable stuff, just in case if we get an impact.
Most of us, we have our children, grandchildren, and so, call around, make sure that they're good.
Some gas, water, bread, and stuff like that, I don't want to go overboard because, sometimes get too excited and you do overshop.
Meanwhile, at appliance and hardware stores around town, managers noticed an even flow of customers, indicating that there was no overshopping. It was a welcoming sight to see everyone not taking chances.
And what they're doing is they're making sure that they have at least the basic essentials.
They're coming in a little slow, I guess, waiting at the last minute. Preparation is always the key. It's best to have it and don't need it, and to need it and don't have it.
Now, while forecasters are predicting life-threatening conditions for our neighbors to the west of us ahead of imminent landfall, residents are sending out their well wishes and prayers, as we're all too familiar with the catastrophic effects of such a powerful storm.
Well, I pray that they be ready for the storm, and I pray that they evacuate like how the government and stuff tell them to evacuate.
I am very phobic when you hear of this kind of thing, and then hearing that it will hit the coast with approximately category 4 or 5, that's serious fresh in my mind.
I just hope and pray that God spare and protect the people in Orlando. I mean, we've been through it. I've been through it with Dorian, and it's no fun. It's hard, it's tough. So I just hope and pray that they're safe and they make it through it.
For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shane Stubbs.
Thanks so much. Well, joining us now is the Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, who has been directly involved in the preparedness efforts and the coordination with agencies. Welcome, Minister. You've had a busy few days assessing the island of Grand Bahama. Just quickly give us a brief assessment of what has been going on in those meetings that you've been having with those in the EOC.
Right. So
Monday morning, first thing, we had to call together all of the administrators on the island. We have 3 administrators for East, for West, and for the city of Freeport to ensure that we were on the same page. So we quickly called that meeting, started to analyze what needed to be done, and then later that day we called a meeting with the Grand Bahama Disaster Consultative Committee. And from that point on, you know, we got the ball rolling because, again, you know, we've been through this many, many times before, but we needed to ensure that all was in order and that the committee had all of the resources that they needed. There's an EIC, that's the Incident Command Center in 8 Mile Rock at the Obadiah H. Wilshcombe Complex, and then there's the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center here at the Harold de Gregory Building. So it's all in order, and just excited to see everyone working together to ensure that the information gets out there. You know, ZNS is in the building, and we're communicating with the public on what's going on.
And it's a multi-agency approach. There's a lot of, I've been down there earlier today, there's a lot of people down there who are working to ensure that the island remains safe and that you're ready to respond in the event of any emergency. So kind of assure residents, some of those who may be panicking right now, because I know a lot of people still feel that post-traumatic stress from Dorian, but I must say no stone has been left unturned as it relates to preparedness, especially with those in the EOC. Absolutely, absolutely. You know, all hands on deck, and as the Minister for Grand Bahama, we try to ensure that all of the resources that they need, they have. And so we've been communicating with the Ministry of Works, so we got all the drainage going in the West Grand Bahama area in particular. We also are ensuring that, you know, with the PHA, that's Grand Bahama Health Services, they're there. Social services, making sure we get all the shelters together that are required. And I believe tomorrow morning, if necessary, you know, we're going to make sure all are opened. They will be opened. And the police is there, the defense force is there, and everyone just working in tandem to ensure that our people are ready, our people are prepared, that the emergency lines are open, and that we're able to respond. And you mentioned the drainage. I know that they've been down there earlier today, because that has been a major concern for many persons in that area. But that was sorted out today. Persons were down there draining those systems, so they shouldn't have any concerns. Absolutely. Thank you to the Ministry of Works and Family Island Affairs. And preparedness is key. We've been, you've been preaching this from Monday. When you went into those areas, give us an idea of what you've been seeing. Are the persons really prepared? Nobody taking this storm lightly? I don't think anyone is taking it lightly, but I didn't see panic. Right. You know, in the very beginning, you saw a little bit of it, you heard a little bit of it, but now I think everyone's settled, because I would also say that our senior meteorologist, Renard Tynes, he's done an excellent job with educating. Because even me, this morning, I was a bit, you know, on edge, and he just calmed our affairs, and basically he educated. Because I think a lot of us go on what we've experienced with Dorian in particular, but then with all the other storms as well, you know, Francis and Jane and Wilma and Matthew. So it was great for him to really just explain what's going on so that we can all understand. And for those who are a part of the EOC and the ICC to be able to educate their own community on what's going on. And were there, from your assessments in those areas, were there any particular challenges that you may have faced that you came across that you were able to address before the storm actually hit? Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, I went in and I wanted to make sure that they had what they needed. And so if they asked for it, we made sure that they were able to get it. And I think we're on the right track, ensuring that we provide all of the resources from a central government standpoint on what's required for the communities. Absolutely. And you talk about those persons that you saw. Was there no panic today? We had a reporter who went out into those communities today, and she spoke with some of the residents who were getting themselves prepared, making those last-minute adjustments and those last-minute preparations and those last-minute purchases, but there wasn't no panic.
There was no panic. I didn't see the panic. Now, there are calls. You know, we have certain residents who need certain things, and we try to fill those, especially me as a member of parliament. So although I would have, you know, spent a lot of time in West Grand Bahama and throughout that community dealing with drainage and other issues, of course I had to go into the Pine Ridge area to make sure, you know, the constituents' needs were met as well.
Absolutely. So we have a report from our Cleopatra Murphy. We're going to keep the minister here. We have a lot to talk about, a lot more to talk about, but we're going to go to a report from our Cleopatra Murphy, who spoke with some residents today just to get an idea of how they were preparing for this tropical storm, which we will be experiencing in just a few hours.
After the high flood waters of Hurricane Dorian, Grand Bahama residents are leaving nothing to chance, taking advantage of free sandbags from Bahama Rock to mitigate against potential flooding by Hurricane Milton.
We need it because you don't know how much flood it can be, and to block off the doors. Yeah, I appreciate the sign.
Although not overly concerned about the mega storm, Jermaine Murphy says it's better to be safe than sorry.
I just hope that we hope the best for Grand Bahama. People are still in recovery mode from Dorian, so I hope that this storm isn't as devastating as the last one is. I don't think it will be, but just take safety precautions, just an event that it is.
Water is also a priority for residents. At Bahama Pure, Supervisor Jason Larimore says customers keep coming.
Business has been booming. As you can see, we don't even have any more water on the shelf. Normally on Monday and Tuesday, we just had a line from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. So we're just trying to make sure everybody gets water. Because it's in high demand right now.
One of those customers is Henry Lewis, who is wrapping up his storm preparation.
I have everything. This is the last thing I have. But I haven't buttoned up anything. Just water and grocery. I'm ready to go.
Hurricane Milton is expected to hit Florida's central Gulf Coast overnight, and officials predict it could be one of the most destructive storms on record. Although Grand Bahama is not in its direct path, the island is expected to experience strong winds and heavy rains, so residents are urged to take all necessary precautions. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
And so there you have it. Although we're not getting a direct hit, you see the residents in Grand Bahama not taking anything lightly. And I think that's like you said, because we've been through this before.
We've been through it before, over and over again.
Over and over again.
Yes, yes, yes. And so we're, you know, and we are still recovering.
Absolutely.
Because Dorian was devastating, and I think the memories linger on when we hear even the strongest rain,
yes,
you know, drops. We become a bit concerned, but they're not taking it lightly. They're out there doing what they have to do to prepare, and we want to support them in what they're doing. So I'm very happy to see the EOC in full operation, and as we're there, sometimes you hear the calls come in.
Yeah.
But it's happening.
I know what that's like when you get those calls, and it's just persons wanting to make sure that they're safe and just wanting to hear a calm voice on the other end of the phone, because that's what keeps them assured that this is going to be okay.
Absolutely, and the role that ZNS plays in all this, from a little girl, I can recall, just waiting to listen to ZNS to hear that, all will be well, or to know where the storm is.
Yes.
And, because that's what the community listens to.
And we will certainly do our best to keep our viewers and everyone informed. Now, we are just basically in day one of prepping for what we are about to experience. What's tomorrow looking like for you? What's the plans?
Well, the plans is we come back to the EOC and we continue to monitor where the storm is. Of course, things can always change, and so we bear that in mind. But we listen to the meteorologists. Like I said, we've been getting some excellent advice from the senior meteorologist here. And we continue to inform, we continue to be here, we continue to wait for those calls to come in to see what, residents are saying.
Absolutely. And I read your press statement earlier this week, and you made sure you pressed on the fact that there's no need to panic. Kind of just assure residents once again that we've been here before. We talked about resiliency, and I think we've kind of grown tired of this word.
No, we are the home of resiliency. Grand Bahama Island is, again, because we've been through it all.
Yes,
we've been through it all, and we continue to recover. We continue to rebuild. And, you know, the government is here. The government is here to support and to provide the resources that are necessary. And so I'm thankful also to the Disaster Risk Management Authority that's, you know, spearheading all of this. The EOC is actually controlled by them. Like I said, we have the 3 administrators who are part of it on the island. And we have all of the various government agencies, the utilities company, and those that, you know, are the ones that are the essential services that are required. So I think we're in good hands here. And everything is actually in the same building. ZNS is here, so the communications is here, as well as the EOC. So we're going to ensure that we get the word out and that we keep our people safe. Because that's the key.
Absolutely.
Ensuring that they're safe.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Minister, for taking time to be a part of our special show tonight and for also giving sage advice to residents of Grand Bahama. Once again, the Emergency Operations Center on Grand Bahama is now fully activated, and residents in need of assistance can contact 351-4902 or 351-4903. When we come back, you're going to hear how West Grand Bahama is preparing for the impending tropical storm impact of Hurricane Milton. Stay with us. You're watching Milton, and we'll be right back.
JBI, lemon and lime.
One of the best products you can find anywhere. This is one of my favorites, and I have lots of favorites at JBI.
This is very rich. I put this in everything, whether I'm baking, whether I'm doing peas and rice, coconut and rice, or you're doing some curry and you want your cream to be in your curry, you could do everything with that.
Oh, I love this with my nice lime. It goes with my tuna salad. When I put that lime and that great food, spicy food I love. So try JBI, lemon and lime.
Try JBI. Happy anniversary to JBI.
JBI.
To the world.
Thank you, Muhammad.
Hear that? If you listen closely, you can hear the heartbeat of a nation. That unique sound of a great country, pounding with colorful history, a rich culture, and unwavering ambition. When you look around, you recognize its pulse. The people who love to celebrate, who identify with triumph, a people who know how to be our brother's keeper. Commonwealth Bank. Built by Bahamians, here for Bahamians, Bahamians helping Bahamians.
On down and see what Dolly Madison has in store for you. Renovate and rejuvenate at Dolly Madison.
Don't miss the 25% National Heroes Day sale at Park & Shop, excluding underwear and red tag items this October 11th and 12th. The Paint Fair family has made the move to their new location on Bellevue Lane off of Queens Highway. Visit the store and join the selfie competition to win free paint to remake your home. Follow them on Instagram or Facebook for all the details today. Calling all vendors. The 2025 Grand Bahama Junkanoo Parade vendor applications are now available. Collect your application from the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture on Region Center East, West Explorers Way. The deadline is October 18th. For more information, call 351-6667. It's KB and Friends live in concert at the Grand Lacaille Ballroom Sunday, October 13th. Gates open at 6 p.m. and the show starts at 8 p.m. Tickets are $60 in advance, $80 at the door. Sponsored by the Ministry of Tourism, the Ministry for Grand Bahama, and Extreme Auto.
Journey to a serene oasis. Relax. Rejuvenate. Welcome to Renew Day Spa. For appointments, call 352.
Welcome back to our special live coverage of Watching Milton. Joining us tonight is a lady who is playing an integral role in ensuring the safety of all residents in the event that there is any emergency before, during, or after any storm. Office of Disaster Management Unit in the Ministry of Grand Bahama. Tammy Mitchell is with us now. Thanks so much for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And really just give us your role as the Office Administrator with the Disaster Preparedness Committee.
Okay, well, again, you would have heard our minister spoke a couple minutes ago, but my role as a part of the Ministry for Grand Bahama team, I'm assigned to the Disaster Management Unit. And what that entails is that as a part of the Disaster Consultative Committee, I'm the liaison person for our ministry with all of the government and private sector partners in disaster preparedness and response needs for the island of Grand Bahama.
Okay, and this is, you are someone who is no stranger to storms. Since I started here in 2018, you've been a familiar face with NEMA, and you're here again. Is there anything different at this time around?
There is definitely 100% more support from the entire emergency support function groupings. We have seemed to band together even more so, and I think that played a part because we all would have gone through Dorian, and we all would have suffered significantly in different realms. But I see we have more teamwork, particularly from the Ministry for Grand Bahama team, because I'm new to the team somewhat, but to see how they've pulled together and went out there with me picking up the supplies, dropping off supplies, getting equipment ready, getting the EOC ready, working along with the government agencies to make sure that whatever their needs are, we're doing all of that here in the Harold de Gregory building.
And that's good to hear, because I remember some years back, it's been a challenge getting persons to volunteer and volunteer their time to be a part of the emergency response teams to be out there. So that's no longer a challenge at this time.
Well, that would always be a challenge, because one thing with Grand Bahamians, and we know it's okay, because once those doors close, it's a different feeling when you don't get to go home. Like, we're allowed to go home the last 2 nights. We're allowed to go home tonight. Tomorrow night is a different story, because we don't go home until this thing is actually out of our way. So we're actually sleeping in here tomorrow night, and we've already prepared ourselves for that. But the need for volunteers, particularly in the emergency center, or even out there to help with the supplies, dropping them off to the shelter, setting up the shelter, that will always be something that we would have out there, a plea for that, because volunteers are always needed.
And for persons who may be interested in volunteering their time, how do they go about doing so?
Well, there's 2 steps. They can actually contact the administrator's office, which is Mr. Kenrick Cartwright, and give him their information, leave their contact numbers, meaning their phone numbers, their cell numbers, or their email addresses with his office, and say that they would like to be a volunteer. There's a volunteer register that's being kept. And then, for example, like how when the emergency operations centers are active, they can call us even tonight and say, hey, we want to put our name on the list so that if you do need help in the future, we can, you know, I'm making myself available. And I just want to give you a little tidbit with that. We have another active phone line for the Emergency Operations Center. Thank goodness PTC was able to come out today. So along with the 2 numbers that you already giving out there, 351-4902, 3 and 4. Those lines are all active for the Emergency Operations Center, 351-4902, 3 and 4. So we want to thank BTC for finally getting that sorted out for us today.
Absolutely, and those emergency lines are important.
Yes, and they are ringing.
And people are calling in?
Yes, they're calling, they're asking us about the weather reports, and thank goodness we have somebody like Trinad who is spending that time with us, and he has been awesome, coming there and going everywhere and sharing the message about what's going on with the weather. And they're asking for questions like, where can they find tarp, or they're asking about business closures. And I want to say a special thank you to the business community as well, because we've been getting a lot of their notices that we've been posting, even through the Ministry for Grand Bahama, and also giving it to them via phone of all of the business closures, the office closures. So it means that on top of Grand Bahamians getting really prepared for, this is just a tropical storm. It shows that they have been listening, they have been heeding the calls and taking, no matter what it is, whether it's a tropical storm or an actual hurricane, they're taking heed and doing the necessary steps to protect life and property.
Is it different this time around than times past when it almost seemed as though it was a tug of war to kind of get people to prepare themselves for what was coming, and those times we were facing hurricanes, but now a tropical storm, and it seems as though there's no longer a struggle to get people to prepare themselves?
Yes, I actually feel a little less heavy. Because I think, and I think too, it goes back to Dorian as well too. People saw what we went through with Dorian, and anytime I think there's a threat of a storm now, they are taking it more serious. I've even seen some places battening up today, because we went by Dolly Madison, and one of those, I saw them putting up shutters on their doors, which is a good thing because you never know. So that is awesome to see that people, and that's what we want. We want people to not take it lightly, because as we know, it only takes one.
Right.
And a tropical storm could quickly turn into anything, but we always want to hope for the best, but always prepare.
Always prepared. That is the message. Well, shelter management is extremely important and falls under the purview of the Department of Social Services. Our Raven Davis is joining us live now with a representative on what you should know if you are in need of a shelter. Raven.
Good evening. We are coming to you live from the Emergency Operations Center at the Ministry for Grand Bahama's COLAB unit. Now, for several days, we know the relevant authorities have convened here to ensure that the necessary protocols are in place and to ensure that the island is ready in the event that the storm does shift and give us a direct impact. Now, joining me live on the broadcast is Chief Social Worker, Miss Pauline Bowen Forbes, rather. Miss Forbes, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Talk about the essential role that the Department of Social Services plays in the event that we do have a storm.
Social workers also considered first responders. What in essence that means is that we are also responsible for preparing the shelters, having them prepared so persons, if they need to be able to have a place of safety, they can be able to go to the shelters. We are instrumental in having the shelters prepared ahead of time as it relates to having them inspected and fully prepared for activation. Where we come in, like I said, we are first responders, also mobilizing our team to be able to respond in the community as the needs become necessary.
You mentioned shelters. Not all of the shelters have been activated. Why is that?
Basically, based on the fact, because we got the information that the system would not be a direct hit to Grand Bahama, which we are thankful for. We just wanted to be able to have some of the shelters open and available should persons become somewhat traumatized or want to be able to have a place of safety. I want people to also understand there are persons who are living by themselves, such as the elderly or other persons who may not want to ride out a system or anything close by within the area by themselves. And so they can be able to go there, as well as we have persons who are still saying that they have situations where their homes are leaking or what have you. And so because of that, they may feel more safe in the shelter rather than being at home. But like I said, we don't anticipate, based on the Met Department, that we would be directly impacted. However, we opened some of the shelters to be able to address the needs of persons who may be need to be placed in shelters. The reason why we didn't open all, because we did not see the necessity as it relates to the fact that we're praying and continuously praying that we don't have a direct hit. However, if it becomes necessary, we have our teams stand by and ready, and all they're waiting for is a call from the department to be able to say mobilize them and have them ready, up and going at the shelters. But all shelters have been prepared.
Mrs. Bowen-Forbes, which shelters are actually open at this time?
Presently, we have the special needs shelters, which is we know as Christ the King, that is open for persons who may be bedridden or have serious ailments. We also have the St. George's Gym, that is ready for persons on the outlying areas and what have you. We have the Maurice Moore Primary School, which we always say that we reserve, especially for persons who are living in the East area. If they don't have anywhere, they need to come down to the Maurice Moore Primary School. And we also have the 8 Mile Rock High School Gymnasium that is also ready as the largest community to be able to receive persons down from the western area.
Now, in the event that we do have some flooding and additional shelters do need to be opened, what is the protocol to have those shelters open, and how soon can persons actually get into those shelters?
As a matter of fact, if we need to be able to have them, that's why we are going by the updates that is given by the Met Department. And once we know what is impending, we're not going to wait till the last minute. Once an update is given and we know if it's likely to come our way or what have you, we will be able to have persons up and ready before the system really gets that bad. And that's why we're paying very close attention to what advices the Met Office is given. And I would advise persons to also pay special attention to that. It may not be a direct hit, however, it doesn't hurt to be prepared.
What should persons bring to a shelter?
As it relates to coming to the shelter, we always ask persons to remember, bring your essential. First of all, I would say especially persons who are on medications, who are on meds, bring your medications. If you have whatever ailment that you're dealing with, once the doctor has diagnosed you to be on medication, make sure pack those first and foremost. Bring your food, bring your water, any other items that you may need to make during the time that you're there to make it comfortable. You may need to bring your blanket. You may need to bring a little pillow. Also, you may need to bring just a cot to be able to lay on. Remembering that as it relates to the Department of Social Services, persons have been asking all day, are we responsible providing foods? We are not responsible for providing while persons are in the shelter. And so we encourage persons to bring all the necessary items, especially their food items, their water and whatever else they are bringing. And especially persons who have children, don't forget to bring along the toys that you may need to keep your children comfortable while they're at the shelter. But we jump into place as it relates to giving emergency food after the system would have passed if needs be.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Bowen-Forbes. And I know you said that it's not too late, actually, for persons to become volunteers or part of the shelter management team, rather. But for now, tonight, we'll be on the ground monitoring the latest developments on this impending storm, but reporting live from the Emergency Operations Center here in the Harold de Gregory building at the Ministry for Grand Bahamas Collab Unit. I'm Raven Davis, sending it back to you, Rico.
Thanks so much, Raven. And there you have it. A lot of information given just now, and I particularly like that she said once an update is given, they are ready to move. Yes. And like we said earlier, everything is set up and everyone is in one area. What I want people to understand is that what she's referring to when she says the update, they're not getting the calls over the phone. The weather official is right next to her. She's right in the room with them, and so that update is coming like that, and they're ready to move at the drop of a dime.
Exactly, and that's the process about being in an emergency operations center. You call all of the partners together, and everybody who from their specified area or their job, they're there to give direct information, to receive direct information, and send it out to the persons who need to move and activate as quick as possible. That's a team.
That's a team. Are these some of the lessons that we've learned from the times past?
Yes, we've been learning them, since Floyd and right up to Dorian. Everything that we have done since I've been a part of the disaster committee, and I've been a part of the committee since about 2006. So everything that we have learned, we continue to learn more. We continue to be proactive rather than reactive. We continue to share information. We continue to train with one another, and that helps us to stay as one unit. We're all supposed to speak as one voice and act as one unit. So it's a team effort, And it's always going to be a team effort, despite what may go out sometimes.
Despite what may go.
Yes.
You talked about training just now. Talk about some of the training that you guys undertake, because it's not overnight training. It's something that is ongoing, and keeping yourselves well-versed in what's happening with these systems.
Yes. Yeah, well, definitely everybody goes through training. And I would have mentioned earlier in another newscast some of the training that I would have gone through as what I would call myself a first responder as well. So, for example, I would have done Emergency Operations Center training. I would have done Incident Command Center training. I would have done Shelter Management training. I have done School Safety Management training. I have done Swift Water Rescue training. I have also done Damage Assessment and Needs Analysis training. I have done Initial Damage Assessment and Needs Analysis training. All of these are things that have prepared me over the years to now be a certified instructor who is able to now teach others in the Bahamas as well as other countries. And some of the countries that I've actually had the opportunity to assist with their training is Belize, St. Lucia, Barbados. I, as a Bahamian, have been called to help them train others because of the fact that, because of our region and our close-knit, we work as a team, and what they are taught in the Bahamas, what we're taught in the Bahamas and they're taught in Belize and St. Lucia and Jamaica and St. Kitts and St. Nevis is the exact same standards that we're taught here in the Bahamas, so that if we have to go to their country to respond, we all have the same training methods.
Thank you so much, our very own Tommy Mitchell. We will be hearing a lot from you tomorrow. It's always good to have you on the broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back after this with our Jay Philippe, who is coming to us live from West End with updates. Stay with us. We're back after this.
Hi, I'm Derek Stubbs.
And I'm Cindy Russell. ZNS 810 AM presents
Grand Bahama. Get ready for the event of the year. Experience a live recording of one of the Bahamas' leading gospel ensembles, Shabbat, on stage with some of gospel's greats, along with the Grand Bahama gospel community. Sunday, National Heroes Day weekend, October 13th, 7 p.m., Jubilee Cathedral, East Settlers Way. It's a free event. Don't miss an experience of a lifetime.
But it doesn't stop there. You can be a part of the largest music workshop and coming together of the island's best in creative arts. Register today by scanning here or get an application from your local church. The Grand Bahama Music Workshop begins Wednesday, October 9th at 7 p.m. nightly through Friday the 11th. Sessions for choir members, praise teams, dancers, musicians, sound technicians, and media operators. The nightly sessions followed by a mass choir rehearsal to record special songs at Shabbat's live recording.
Monday, October 13th. Due to the logistics and unstable weather pattern, we had to take it inside the Grand Lacan Ballroom. I'm a boatman. Featuring KB, Chino T, Nishi Ellis, T-Mac, Sweet Emily, Elon Moxie, Funky T, Lil Joe Cartwright, Sherrod Taylor, Wilfred Solomon, Veronica Bishop, Stevie S, Mama D, Colin McDonald, Papa Smurf, Shine 242, Recon Bahamas, Chad Gully and the VIP. Special guest from Turks and Caicos, the Provision Band, and host Super P. Sunday, October 13th at the Grand Lacan Ballroom. Doors open at 6 p.m. Showtime at 8 p.m. Admission $60. Tickets are available now at Pennyworth, Brenda's Booth, Coffees on the Bay, Gizmos and Gadgets, and Signature Choices. For more info, phone 819-2233 Bahamas and 649-231-0018. TCI, I'm a boatman. Sunday, October 13th at the Grand Lacan Ballroom. KB and Fred.
Live sponsored by the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry for Grand Bahama, and Extreme Honor.
Welcome back. Well, with the West Grand Bahama community is prone to flooding, our Jay Philippe was in that community all day, and tonight he joins us live with the latest. Jay, what can you tell us?
Good evening, Remiko, and good evening, Bahamas. I spent most of the day in West Grand Bahama. I'm currently at the Obadiah Wilshcombe Government Complex, where the ICC is located. Now, the ICC is the Incident Command Center, and I'm joined by Administrator from West Grand Bahama, Leonard Dames. Tell us exactly what's the function of the ICC.
Yes, as you indicated, we are the Incident Command Center. And at this Incident Command Center, what we do, based on the instructions from the Met Office,
along with the DRM authority. They gave us the cue to activate. When we activate, as you would notice, that we have persons here who answer the phone. We ensure that we give out all of our emergency contacts to the public so that if in the event they are in distress or they're going through a situation as a result of the storm, that they would call into the emergency center. Once they would call into the center, based on the nature of the call, we have persons from different emergency support functions. For example, they are from all of the government agency, departments, and ministries. And if someone has a medical situation, we have nurses and we have doctors on site. So they can actually walk them through their problem until there is an all clear. And once there's an all clear, then they would be able to go out and attend to them. So the ICC is very important and critical when it comes to disaster, because this basically is the nucleus and the hub of all of the controlling movements within the district.
What about the hurricane shelters? I know the 8 Mile Rock Gymnasium was recently renovated. Can you give us an update of the hurricane shelters in West Grand Bahama?
Yes, we have 8 hurricane shelters in the West Grand Bahama, and I've noticed earlier where somebody gave a report from social services. They are also published, and we have received a report just recently to activate the 8 Mile Rock Gym. That is the biggest shelter within our district. So that has been activated as of 8 o'clock. So persons who would find themselves in a situation where they need to come out, that is presently activated at this time.
There you have it, Leonard Dames, the West Grand Bahama Administrator. I've spent the entire day in West Grand Bahama. Some drainage were cleaned early on today, which gives access and passage so that in the event of any flooding, things can be handled appropriately. I'll be here all night at the Incident Command Center in 8 Mile Rock at the Obadiah Hercules Complex. Back to you in studio, Remiko.
Thanks so much, Jay. Well, in news from Abaco, residents on that island are preparing for tropical storm effects prior to Hurricane Milton. Island Administrator for Central Abaco, Kefian Ferguson, says that she believes the devastation from Hurricane Dorian was a wake-up call to residents as they are preparing as if the hurricane is hitting Abaco directly. Here's that report.
As we are hours away from experiencing the outer bands of the massive Hurricane Milton, residents on Abaco are taking heed to the warnings. The Family Island Administrator for Central Abaco says that Hurricane Dorian was a wake-up call. Now residents on the island are making the necessary provisions to prepare.
We started right away from we got the heads up about being in the warning. They started doing shopping at the various grocery stores, stocking up on hurricane supplies.
Just yesterday, Abaco experienced flooding due to clogged storm drains. Island Administrator Ferguson says that the DRMA officials are currently on the ground working diligently to rectify the issues. Ferguson also adding that the main shelter in Central Abaco is now activated.
So we did have some flooding in areas such as Murphy Town, Central Pines, and Marsh Harbor area. Yeah, due to those block drains. Activated one of the main shelters that is at Central Abaco Primary from last night, and advised occupants at the trailer park, the RVs, that it was open and they could have reported.
Now the DRMA is providing and distributing tarps to residents who are experiencing leaking in their homes. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Shelia Rule.
Well, meantime, residents on the island needing assistance during the storm can contact the incident emergency numbers that is listed on your screen at this time. In Central Abaco, you can contact 810-0266. Over in Bimini, the numbers are over in Bimini, can contact the Incident Command Center that is now activated. The direct numbers for that disaster committee group, 727-2143 or 446-0131. Over in Bimini, residents can also contact the Island Administrator at 727-2143. Alistown Police Station at 446-0131. Bimini Clinic at 473-8030. Well, as Hurricane Milton approaches, BTC is crediting its prepaid and postpaid customers 3 gigabytes of data to ensure residents can stay connected. And the telecommunications company also closed its offices at noon and will resume operations Friday. BTC's Northern Bahamas Executive Senior Manager Dominic Petty says BTC is working to ensure its mobile service stays up throughout the storm as long as possible, having serviced and fueled generators in various sites in the Northern Bahamas in the event of any power outages, while officials have worked to ensure fixed services are stable. He also addressed the service recent instability.
Did have some downtime with the second generation plant where we actually refreshed that particular critical site. So we have a brand new generator there. Just to ensure that, you know, a lot of that up and down doesn't happen, particularly when the power goes off. So what we have done should have stabilized a lot of the instability that was experienced in recent times. So we feel pretty confident in that regard.
Councillor. Now, we reached out to Alive on storm plans, but received no comment up to news time. Joining me live on the newscast now is psychological trauma surrounding Hurricane Dorian. It lingers with many Grand Bahamians and Abaconians. Tonight, we invite Dr. Andy Lang, clinical consultant at the Grand Bahama Resilience Center, to calm the fears and help navigate residents through the next 24 hours of severe weather. And I'm sure there are plenty of fears, considering what we have been through in the Northern Bahamas, especially in Grand Bahama and Abaco. Welcome to the show tonight. Firstly, for persons who may be experiencing some stress disorders from those past storms, what are some of the coping mechanisms that they could utilize at this time?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for having me. And I want to say that there is a very real phenomenon called storm anxiety. And a lot of people experience it when storms are approaching, during storms, after storms. It is a very real phenomenon. Now, given what Grand Bahama has been through, our history with storms, I suspect, I don't know this for certain, but I suspect that there are a lot of persons walking around in our communities with undiagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder stemming from Hurricane Dorian and perhaps past hurricanes. For persons who happen to fall into that category, or even if you're not post-traumatic stress disordered, right, but you still tend to get a little anxious when storms are coming, there are some things that you can do. The first thing is you want to not overexpose yourself to news reports, especially as they relate to storms, okay? Of course, you want to be informed, you want to be updated, but you don't want to overexpose yourself to that barrage of information that's coming in. Secondly, you want to stay connected. And by staying connected, I'm talking about staying connected with friends and family members, church brothers and sisters, persons from your faith community, staying connected with these persons. You also want to ensure that you're getting facts. The information that you're getting, you want to ensure that you're getting it from credible sources. You want to take care of your body during this time. So you want to ensure that you're eating properly, that you're sleeping properly, that you're exercising, that you are engaging in activities that are relaxing, whether it be meditation or listening to music or whatever have you. And then, of course, you want to engage in self-care. You want to especially take care of yourself, as this can be a particularly stressful time.
Absolutely, and it's not abnormal for persons who experience traumatic experiences like Hurricane Dorian to have those kinds of feelings. I know for a fact that there's some people that the sound of rain may bring back some memories that they don't want to hear, and they may just want to go in a dark room because they don't want to experience that.
Yes, and so the thing with storm anxiety, or even if there are persons who have undiagnosed PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. There are certain events that can serve as triggers, okay? And these can be things like weather reports, gust of wind, rainy spells. And if these are your triggers, you have to recognize that these are triggering for you, and then you have to have a plan for how you are going to deal with these triggers. Now, in terms of dealing with triggers, there are any number of ways that can happen. But the one that I like to suggest to a lot of persons who happen to be in similar situations or who tend to suffer from anxiety is to focus on their breathing. It's very important because when we become triggered, our sympathetic nervous system is essentially activated, and that is the part of our nervous system that prepares us to take action. So either to fight, or to flee, or to freeze. So what you want to do is you want to activate the opposite system, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. And one of the ways that you can do that is by focusing on your breathing. And so by taking deep, even breaths, okay, not rushed, very deliberate, very intentional, focusing on your breathing. And you do that for about 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And that should activate a parasympathetic nervous response that can help you achieve a state of calm.
Absolutely. Just before we go, because I think we have a minute left in the show, is there a number that persons can contact to get help if they feel like they're going through these experiences?
Absolutely. So, like you would have mentioned in your intro, I am a counselor with the Grand Bahama Resilience Center, and we may be contacted at 602-5118 or 727-4244 or 443-8083. And of course, there are other agencies in the community that persons can also reach out to. The Department of Social Services, 352-8847 or 8, as well as Health, Social and Psychological Services at 350-6700.
All right, Dr. Andy Lang, clinical consultant.